I've got a fresh instance of Contact, and I'm going to type in Uno here, and there's a new instrument called Piano Uno, and here are the presets. I'm just going to load one up, and it's a nice lightweight piano with simple mechanical noise, timbre, stereo imaging, reverb, and choice of different convolution spaces. And in this video, I want to look at the Chords tool and just kind of go over the basics. So we're in the side pane here, and I can get to it, and I can click that and load the first preset. And we can, of course, also go to the regular browser, and we're not viewing it here on the tools pane because of the search. So let's clear that, and now we'll see the tools that are available. So I'll click on here, and I can select between the presets there, but I'll just click that, and there we go. It's loaded in the first one. Now, the Chords tool allows you to play chords on your Contact instruments by pressing a single key, and that's what it's about. So we have this piano sound loaded in, and I can press single notes, and you'll see what I'm triggering down here, and so on. Now, each chord set that's loaded in, and this preset loads in a chord set, contains 7 chords, and you see them represented here. Now, I just want to go over the interface in this video. We have the chord set selector and the chord set browser up here. So you can, of course, choose your presets from this flat list, but here we can click here and get a browser where we can filter based on these tags. And we can, let's say I'm going to go for pop and type medium popular, and then I get a choice of presets. And the highlighted circle indicates which one is selected, and you can audition them from here. So before you load them in, you can get an idea if that's the one you want to load or not. So we also have this export handle, and you can click and drag it to export the entire set into your DAW. And we can, of course, double click just to select this preset. And I'm going to hit the X button to close it. And that's the one that we're working with. And I can, of course, scroll linearly like that. And I can use the dice to just call up a random set from the browser. Now, by default, when you load a chord set, it loads its chords and scales, and it replaces the current chords and the current scale. But let's say you want to work in a specific key and just audition the different chord sets. You can set your key and scale over here and then lock it. So, for example, I'm maybe working up a little piece that's in A major, and I'll just lock that. And you'll notice that each of the circles updated, and they now contain chords related to that root note and tonality. And now when I change over here, it'll retain the key and scale mappings. Now, one little footnote, this only works when loading chord sets from the chord set selector or the chord set browser like I just did. It doesn't work from the side pane or library browser. Now, each circle visually represents the 7 chords in the set, and it has a few chord-related controls underneath. We have a magnifying glass, and that opens a chord browser, and we can choose another chord to load specifically into that slot. So maybe I don't need that one. Or this one, I don't like that one. So I'm going to open the browser and I can load another chord in. And you'll notice that we don't see the whole circle here. We're seeing individual chords. So let's try that one. Better. Maybe an octave lower, but at least the chord is better. So that's a browser for that specific slot, and we can use the dice to just randomize the chord that's added. And I actually find this really useful because it does respect the key and scale, so you can get some interesting results generated. And we can also record our own chord in here. So for example, maybe this one. I don't like that one. I can hit the record button and play a chord on my MIDI keyboard. And there's G major 7. And take it out of record mode. And there it is, the G major 7. Now we've got the key bed over here, which shows a little keyboard on which the keys of the selected chord are lit using the chord color. So I can click there and I see the different color associated with that one, and there are the notes for that chord. And so on. As I click on each, you'll see the circle become highlighted and the chords displayed that are being triggered. Now we've also got tool playback controls here. So this chord selector slot will select which circle is selected and display what it is, but we can also trigger them on the white notes. Now with these, we can control, for example, which octave. Maybe I want that an octave lower. And we can humanize various aspects of the performance. We can click here to get this little humanize panel where we can add a random deviation for the timing between each note and offset the minimum and maximum velocities by a certain percent, and even skip notes so that it's not the exact same every time. Now we can also introduce a delay between each notes for a strumming effect. So as I dial this up, it'll increase the delay between each note, and we can have it either descending or ascending, which can be really interesting with guitar sounds, but any kind of keyboard sound. And here it is ascending. So it's really a very creative and flexible environment for one-note chord triggering. Now we also have some settings up here, and we have some advanced options, and we'll look at this separately in another video. Next video, we're going to start putting this to work.